Hi guys, after sharing my deportation, or should I say near removal from the UK story, a friend mentioned that it would be interesting for me to share with my subscribers all about my journey to actually becoming a British resident and citizen. If you haven't seen that saga of how I nearly got removed from the UK, I'm going to leave that video linked up right there so you can check that video out. Before I actually continue, I want to say a huge thank you guys, because we're now a family of 40,000 subscribers here on YouTube. Without you, this wouldn't be happening. So thank you so much for your support and love throughout this journey. So yes, back to the video. This video is all about my journey to becoming a British citizen. It wasn't an easy one, and you'll hear exactly why it wasn't. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, welcome. My name is Sassy Funke and I'm a Nigerian author, travel and lifestyle content creator. Author because I wrote the first ever high quality, locally created travel guide to Lagos, which I know you're going to love. You can buy it using all the links in the description box, so definitely go check that out. I'm gonna skip all the normal intro and get straight into this video. But don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're new here and give this video a huge thumbs up. Arriving in the UK in early 2001, my dad decided that it was best for me to continue my education with my brother in the UK, that we both moved there together. At the time, I was at Apata Memorial High School in Lagos, and I had gained admission to go to a boarding school in Scotland to start in September 2001. So I actually got my visa here in Nigeria, in Lagos. I believe at the time they gave me a 1-year visa. I arrived in the UK in, I believe, September 2001. And I spent 4 years there doing my GCSEs and my A-levels. And after my first year, I had to renew my visa. So I renewed my visa in Nigeria and I got an extra 3-year visa. So bear in mind, I did 4th form, 5th form, lower 6 and upper 6. So this was 4 years in the UK that I'd spent at this point in time. After my A-levels, I received an admission to study business management at King's College in London, right, for a 3-year degree. I had to go back to Nigeria again and I got a visa, a student visa for 3 years. So I spent 3 years at King's College and graduated with my BSc, a 2-1 by the way, in the summer of 2008, which is when all this whole saga about my deportation slash near removal happened. So it was at this point in time when I just graduated from university that the saga of the deportation happened. Bear in mind that throughout these 7 years now, that's 4 years doing my A-levels and GCSEs and 3-year degree, this 7 years, I went back to Nigeria for most of my holidays. That's my Easter, you know, the summer, the long 2-month break holiday. I always went back because that was where my parents were based. And the reason why I always went back to Nigeria is because my parents always wanted me to have that strong connection to home. They didn't want me to lose a huge part of who I was. The truth is, I did not understand at the time the impact of all these extended breaks would have on my future application for British residency. Because frankly, at the time, it wasn't on my mind that I would even be interested in applying for residency or citizenship, or even on my parents' mind either, because for them, that wasn't the reason why I was studying in the UK. I was just in the UK just to get the education with the plan to come back to Nigeria. Switching to a work permit. In 2008, I started working with JP Morgan, and JP Morgan at the time actually helped me to get a work permit, a 5-year work permit. And I actually secured this job because I had worked with JP Morgan during the summer of my 2nd year. So after I had performed well, they actually offered me a full-time position upon actually completing my first degree. JP Morgan was in charge of actually applying for my work permit, which they did in the UK. So I didn't have to go back to Nigeria for this application to be made. They basically took my passport, their lawyers worked on it, and they gave me back my passport with a 5-year work permit on it, which was great. It was probably 2 years later, in 2010, that someone mentioned it to me briefly that I could actually apply for British residency. That's an indefinite leave to remain on the basis of long residence of 10 years, right? What that meant was that if I had spent 10 years in the UK under any sort of visa category, I was eligible if I followed some rules to actually apply. Bear in mind that I came to the country in 2001, which means that in 2011, I would be eligible. So in 2010, I was like, okay, I found out about this and I thought, wow, this is interesting. So in early 2010, I was actually on the corporate development program for JP Morgan, and they were running this international rotational program, like a competition, where the company basically sponsored high performing candidates or graduates on this program to move to the office in New York for 6 months. And I knew by being away for 6 months, I wasn't sure how that would affect my application in 2011 for my residency, but it was an opportunity for me that, oh my God, like for my career, like if I won a 6-month secondment or transfer, like that is incredible for my profile. So I applied, and out of 90 candidates, I was one of 4 that was actually accepted to move to New York for 6 months. Moving to New York, I went for the 6-month rotation in New York, and it's probably still one of the best experiences I've had to date. And the truth is, I wasn't really thinking about how this 6 months away from the UK would actually affect my application for long residence. Because frankly speaking, becoming a citizen or a resident wasn't really at the forefront of my mind. And maybe it's because I grew up with a father that has a Nigerian passport and has been able to excel in this field and hasn't ever pushed us to, oh, you need to get a passport from here, from there. Like that was never the intention. So because of that, I was raised in a manner whereby you can still be all you can be, even without sort of these, like it wasn't just like a do or die situation, basically. So yes, the British residency, TIMEis citizenship wasn't really shocking me. It never shocked me when I arrived in the UK. It wasn't shocking me when I was there. I was just there to learn, to get an education, to apply myself, to get a great job, to take on opportunities. That was what was at the forefront of my mind. But when I was in the US, actually, I really enjoyed my role, and my MD at the time really enjoyed me being in his team. And he actually offered and asked me that if I would like to remain in the US and not go back to the UK, that he would be very happy to actually sponsor me to remain in the US. At this point, I thought about it that, you know what, I've already dedicated so many years in the UK. It only makes sense for me to basically get the fruits of my labor, right, and get a UK residency rather than now start it all over again in the US. Because I heard news about the US back then, how some people have been in the US for like 15 years and they still don't have a green card. And I wasn't about to risk that. I know I didn't care about the passport per se, but at the same time, I had a working brain at the time. So I rejected that and decided to go back to the UK after my 6 months had elapsed in the US. So back in the UK and applying for an indefinite leave to remain based on long residence. I decided to apply for UK residency on the basis of long residence. That's a 10 years continuous residence in the UK. I didn't use any lawyers because I felt my situation was very, very straightforward. And the truth being, I didn't even want to spend more than, the application fee, because lawyers take a lot of money. So I believe at the time it was like £1,000 or so to apply, or maybe 800 or £1,000. And to be honest, for me, I was in my early 20s, that was too expensive. Like that was even a lot of money for me to put down. It's key to note that for long residence, you can actually leave the UK for up to 180 days at one time, but in total, you must not have spent more than 540 days in 10 years. And you might think, oh, that's a lot of time. That's like a year and a half, right? Like most people would not have spent that much time out of the UK. When I actually factored the time that I was away in the US, it was a little bit less than 6 actual months. And I actually went through the UK. I broke my trip once during the summer. So I was actually technically in the UK within the 6 months. So I had no problems with the 180 days away at once. That was fine. But when it came to the total time that I was out of the UK for, remember, you're not allowed to be out of the UK for 540 days. So guys, to cut this whole long story short about this part, they declined my application. Like my £1,000 flown out of the window, done. I was declined. And they mentioned that the time I had spent out of the UK in 10 years was more than 540 days. Which wasn't by my own calculation, but by their own calculation, they said it was more than 540. And my calculation was around 5 something, but not up to 540, but apparently it was more. And the reason being, the first year that I actually arrived in UK, 2001, 2002, I went home for Christmas, for Easter, for summer. I think I went home like for 4 months in that first year. So all those summer vacations and breaks I took came to basically bite me in the ass. That's what happened. I was then advised for a lawyer to just wait for 1 year and apply again, because that first year of like 4 months will be taken off and they'll just count the past 10 years. If I just made sure that in the current year that I would be spending, I wasn't going to be leaving the UK so much that I should try and apply again the next year. So 2012, should I apply again? In 2012, I decided I wasn't going to apply again based on long residence, because one, I didn't want to spend that money. Like spend like over £1,000 is something that I wasn't ready to spend to risk getting rejected again. And number two, at the time, the wait time for UK immigration to process long residence was like up to a year in some circumstances. Like if I have to wait up to a year, that is madness. I wasn't prepared to wait. So I decided that I wasn't going to apply based on long residence. I decided instead that I would wait until my 5-year work permit with my firm, when that would be ready to expire, because as part of my employment contract, JP Morgan had said that before it was going to expire, they would apply for an indefinite leave to remain for me. That's a residence for me. Because if you don't know, at the time, I don't know how it is now, once you have a work permit for 5 years, based on that, you can actually apply for a residency. The same thing I was applying for based on 10-year residency, I can apply for it on based on 5-year residency. And the reason why I wanted to go with JP Morgan, the process with them, was because they would give me a lawyer to put my application together. The lawyer would take me to the center to apply, and the decision would be given on the same day. Like I think they were paying like maybe £5,000 for like a fast track, same day, getting your ILR. And I thought, you know what, that made more sense rather than me risk applying by myself. In late 2013, I believe a month or two before my work permit, my 5-year work permit was about to expire, the company immigration lawyer basically put together all my documents. They walked me through sort of my travels, my exits, like every single thing. They basically handheld me to make sure that the application was perfect. On the particular day for my interview, they took me to the center. I think it was in Croydon, somewhere around there. They took me to the center, and within an hour or so, I was given my indefinite leave to remain card, which was, I think it was valid for 10 years or so, but I received it in 1 day. Like at this point, I was just overjoyed, because I felt like, finally, immigration cannot stress me about entering the UK anymore. I'm not a resident. Nobody can do anything. Truth be told, I was very, very happy. I was happy. I was excited, but I don't think I was like crazy, like, oh my God. I was just happy that I wouldn't have, when you're entering UK immigration, you always have that sense of like the way they interrogate you. I felt like, okay, now I can just say I'm a resident and that's it. So I was really happy about, that interaction would be a smoother conversation. You know what I mean? So guys, this is exactly how I became a British resident, and I received my indefinite leave to remain. Now, getting a British passport. Once I received my ILR, I knew from research that you only had to spend 12 months, after which you can then apply to become a British citizen. This was pretty simple in terms of process, but I had applied to go for an MBA in 2014, right? To start an MBA in 2014, and my 12 months to apply would be around maybe November, I think around maybe around November or October 2014 would mean I'll be applying when I'm actually in business school in France. But I did my calculation because in that 12 months, you're actually allowed to be away from the UK up to 90 days. I'm just gonna be like, this girl, why can't you just sit down? You had your deportation wahala, you didn't sit down. This one too, you don't want to sit down. Like, you're still counting the days to make sure you're still not sitting your ass down. But to me, like, going to business school was so important. Like, even though for many people I know, like, getting a passport was do or die, for me, I did not want opportunities or, you know, like my career goals to pass me by simply because I was waiting on this one thing. Like, it just wasn't, like, there was no question around that. I was still going to do these things without a residency or a citizenship, right? So I actually applied for my citizenship, I think around October 2014 when I was doing my MBA in France. I applied, I sent all my information. Apparently it's actually very, very quick for them to like respond to you. It took months and months and months. And I remember in January 2015, I was actually doing a course in Singapore, and I actually started to email some MPs complaining that these people are messing up my application, like I'm already a resident, like what's happening? And because I did that push, it got escalated. And before I knew it, they sent my British passport to me in Singapore. Like, they issued it and they sent it within like 2 days to me in Singapore, which was amazing because when I was in Singapore, I couldn't really take all these trips to other Asian countries because I have a Nigerian passport there. They just won't give you visa. So by having this British passport, actually, it made it easier for me to travel to a few more places, which was incredible. Yes, guys, that is how I made it to become a British citizen at the end of the day. I really hope you actually enjoyed watching this video. If you have any questions about bits and pieces, let me know. It was an interesting journey to getting my citizenship. It's always good. I always tell people to have options, you know, to have an option of, I love Nigeria, but I'm going to lie to you. Like, being a citizenship of another country is a benefit, right? It's a benefit for access, for movement, and I'm really thankful that I paid my taxes. I did a bunch of stuff that I paid my dues to actually getting my citizenship. Guys, I would love to hear your own story. Do you have your own personal stories on how you got your British residency and citizenship? Was it a smooth process? Was it a tough process? Like, let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you once again for watching my channel. I appreciate every single one of you, and I look forward to seeing you on my next video. And don't forget, subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. See you.